Hello everybody, this is a new part in the cheap skid steer series. I just wanted to give a bit of an update. The engine's in, it runs, and a fair amount of the wiring is actually done. That is the original two dashboards that were in this thing from when it was still a diesel. The key works, it starts. Headlights, switch is still locked up. We still need to get a new one. Hour gauge works. Preheat's irrelevant because it's not a diesel anymore. We got the boom lock working, and that's the original fuel gauge. And we actually did get the alternator light to function like it should. These two we don't know yet. And since this was formerly a diesel, it doesn't actually have an accessories and ignition section on the key switch, so it doesn't actually send enough power to the HEI on the 2.5 to actually start it, because it drops to about 6 volts when you're actually in the cranking position. So you actually have to turn that on and then this is like the ignition switch, kind of like a race car. So this is actually the ignition. So if you do this in your own with a 2.5 and it was formerly a diesel, you have to do this. You have to have like an on and then an actual ignition switch that's completely separate circuit from the rest of everything. Let me take you towards the back and show you a few more things. Okay, this is the outside of it so far. We actually did get this hydraulic line replaced because this was the one that was missing. This one works pretty well. We had to use adapting fittings because this is actually a jig fitting style ram. So we had to get pipe to JIC fittings. That line, it kind of leaks. And the engine actually starts pretty decently, but the El Cheapo fuel pump decided it didn't want to live anymore and died partway through the second time of starting this thing. So far, it's probably about 90% wired. The alternator works, and if anybody watches this and actually needs to know this, the pink/red wire with a black stripe goes to ignition power on, and the brown would go through an idiot light to ignition power on. Don't loop this one to the battery. We got the Ford style ignition solenoid for starting it. And we used basically almost the entire original Kubota exhaust pipe and just cut it up and flipped a couple parts of it over and welded it into the factory 2.5 manifold. Cut the flange off and flipped it upside down, welded it back together, and used one of these chrome exhaust band clamps to put it back together. If you are doing this, you should put paste or RTB on the inside. That's where you put it on. We didn't, and it sort of kind of has an exhaust leak. I think it's going pretty decent so far. The wiring's not entirely done. We do plan on putting some of that fire resistant loom on this, considering I think a lot of skid steers go up like their matchbooks. Thanks for watching. If anybody's got any questions, just ask. Thank you.